During the writing and revising of I Do If It's Equitable, the contents were shared with men and women of various ages, professions, social classes, and education. Single, engaged, married, divorced. Often, in an attempt to strengthen or defeat the I Do philosophy, they would respond with, "What if?" With the I Do philosophy behind us, let us consider what if. Greetings, daters of all ages. I'm John F. Whitney, author of the book I Do If It's Equitable, a philosophy for dating and marriage to avoid the potential horrors of divorce. I will be your host and your guide as we discuss the I Do philosophy. This is section 6, video 2 of 4, What If, part 2. The red square at the bottom right hand corner of your screen is a subscribe button. If you feel I am doing a good job, please consider clicking that subscribe button anytime during this video. What if she was working while we were dating, but she quits after we marry? What then? Once married, neither partner should make a unilateral decision, especially regarding key issues such as employment, children, and major purchases. We believe item 7 states if both partners are employed, both will remain employed until both agree to a change. Without proper discussion and acceptance by both partners, such a unilateral decision is selfish and unfair. Discussion and agreement is even more essential if the financial survival of the relationship requires the income of both partners. It would only be possible for one partner to quit working if, as a minimum, their debts and obligations allowed it. The joint obligations could be reduced to reflect the income change. The other partner would not become unduly burdened by this income change, and the well-being of any children is not threatened. At the very least, the equity earned by the remaining employed partner must increase, necessary lifestyle changes might be required, and the discretionary spending of the partner no longer working would be limited to the amount in their personal account. However, if this issue was discussed before it occurred, then the financial and emotional impact would likely be minimized. What guarantee do I have that someone I am dating will be truthful when we discuss these issues? What if they lie or say what I want to hear, but don't really mean it? Someone might indeed lie or purposely mislead during dating. This deception is eliminated, however, if a contract is drafted. If something is believed without question or reservation, then putting it on paper will also be done without reservation or question. If they will not or do not agree with the contract, then their motives are to be suspected. You must decide whether to trust them implicitly and forego the contract, or leave them for someone who believes in a contract. What if I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy, where I am the king of my castle? Why should I follow the I Do philosophy and change that? So don't change that if you are comfortable with it. You, Tarzan, find a woman who will happily assume the role of Jane. The I Do philosophy is of value as it allows you to honestly and openly profess what you believe. However, this Tarzan-Jane relationship has its price. How? You can't have it both ways. Don't be surprised if your Tarzan-Jane relationship invalidates the equitable foundation of the I Do philosophy. Nothing lost, however, as only an old-fashioned kind of girl will tolerate the male-dominated Tarzan relationship you expect. Your Jane will likely have no part of the I Do philosophy. And why should she? If her life with you is an old-fashioned one of deference and service, lost is her long-term security. If she can only do as an old-fashioned girl is allowed, then I am sure she will be happy to part as an old-fashioned girl as well. That is, she will be happy to let you be you, Tarzan, lord of your jungle, at least until her divorce lawyer finishes taking the treehouse, the vines, and even Cheetah from you. I shared the I do philosophy with my fiancée. She rebuked me and stated that if I love her, I'd trust her. What about that? What about if she loves you, she will respect your beliefs? Otherwise, in time, you will feel animosity toward her for denouncing these beliefs. Moreover, what about her trusting you? You are merely attempting to strengthen the relationship by eliminating the pitfalls that might threaten it. Or is it that she either misses or refuses to see the point? The I do philosophy is designed to foster trust between two people. She must do her part to build this trust by allowing the I do philosophy to help remove any potential threat to either of you that might arise. Beyond that, perhaps this is your first clue that potential disaster awaits this relationship. That is, if you adhere to the I do philosophy, the relationship might not survive. On the other hand, if you discard the I do philosophy, you might face future financial disaster. You have a choice to make. As the good book says, you can't serve two masters. Either preserve the I do philosophy and abandon the relationship, or abandon the I do philosophy and preserve the relationship. One or the other. Now, do you trust the I do philosophy more or her more? We both invest in the market. My partner is better at it than I am. She sees these gains as her gains exclusively. Is this fair? You tell me, is it fair? Where do your stock market gains end up? Have you given her any reason to fear for her future security? The I do philosophy would expect each of you to place an accepted percentage into a joint account. Therefore, once she contributes an accepted amount to that joint account, it is indeed fair that she retains the remaining amount. The rest belongs to her. Period. What if, by choice or otherwise, I become the exclusive homemaker and/or social coordinator for the betterment of my partner's career? How does the I do philosophy protect my investment in the marriage? The I do philosophy insists that you find some equitable manner to compensate yourself for your sacrifice and investment. How and how much is the challenge? Consider the case of Ms., former Mrs. Lorna Went. Hers is a classic case of Tarzan Jane, albeit at a time when all men were considered Tarzans and all women were considered Janes. She deferred to his career, serviced the marriage, raised the children, and entertained his business acquaintances. After 30 years of marriage, they were divorced. She insisted upon and was awarded alimony, her current lifestyle, an expensive wardrobe, half of the acquired property, and half of her ex-husband's income and savings. All this as she contended that they were equals in marriage. In her words, "We earned this together. He brought home the bacon, but I shopped for it, cooked it, and cleaned up after it." First, the easy part. Ms. Went also states that she put her husband through Harvard Business School by supporting the family during those years and typing his papers. Without doubt, she serves fair compensation for her part in contributing to the success of his education and or the fruits it created. How much is fair compensation? Perhaps I'm a cynic, but you would think that someone who attended Harvard Business School could have, should have, and would have established this amount long ago. But I digress. Now for the more difficult part. The Wentz ran headlong into what is the most cancerous reality of our current divorce system. Why should one person be responsible for maintaining a lifestyle for an ex that the ex could not or did not directly earn for him or herself? Were her homemaker duties worth 50% of his entire wealth? I might be wrong, but a housekeeper can be hired at less than 50% of one's assets. Moreover, some might argue that the millions of dollars she received for cooking the bacon is demeaning and insulting to the millions of women and men who also cook the bacon, but will not receive Ms. Went's financial windfall for doing so. In fairness to Ms. Went, perhaps she is correct. Perhaps people do enter marriage as equals in every way. Perhaps the professional homemaker does provide value, if not expected, intangible contributions to the marriage. If she is correct, then 50% of assets she did not directly earn is indeed fair. So be it. If two people accept these understandings, accept such equality, and accept such compensation, then it is theirs to do. Let us hope they accept this compensation before marriage, or if they cannot agree upon this compensation, decide not to marry at all. Moreover, let's be careful not to shortchange Ms. Went. Remember, her position in the division of assets is that she indeed did earn this lifestyle by providing for the home and entertainment needs of the marriage. Perhaps this division would have become clarified by following the I do philosophy. That is, the children would have been provided for and protected. Ms. Went would have received some equitable value for her family and social dedication, as well as her contribution to Mr. Went's career. After all, she must be assured that he cannot merely walk away without recognizing and compensating her for each of these valued contributions. She must also be assured the security that 30 years of dedicated marriage should guarantee. Let's be reasonable. The Went marriage was 30 years long. Mr. Went did not complain about this agreement or arrangement until the issue of divorce was raised. Sorry, Mr. Went, but silence is acceptance. After 30 years of silent acceptance with any situation, is it not fair and just to consider each partner's role in the marriage as an equal and valued one? Then again, who other than Ms. Went deserves to gain from the assets accumulated during these years of marriage? The next Mrs. Went? Being a cynic, I see Mr. Went as a target to some young gold digger who, after a short marriage and or pregnancy very early in the relationship, would expect half of his remaining assets. Let's see, who is more deserving? Ms. Went, who for 30 years contributed to these assets, however intangible or expected this contribution might be, versus the new wife, who enters the picture long after these assets have been earned. Key to her position is the fact that Ms. Went believes that people enter into marriage as equals. The I do philosophy contends that, especially regarding money, wealth, and power, it ain't equal unless it's equal. Nonetheless, her foundation for equality in marriage is an honorable and worthy concept. Remember, her foundation, the I do philosophy, the Bible, in short, any and all guides that facilitate honest and open communication, which leads to an eventual understanding and acceptance between partners, is a worthy effort. Finally, let's accept Ms. Went's own argument and agree that people enter into marriage as equals. Does this equality also extend to any financial losses Mr. Went faces? If he lost or loses $20 million, is Ms. Went responsible for, obligated, and willing to pay $10 million of the debt? Moreover, as equals, is any subsequent husband entitled to half of her assets? So firm is Ms. Went in her conviction, she has insisted that her daughter sign a prenuptial agreement. Using Ms. Went's position that they enter marriage as equals, does her daughter give up 50% of her future assets to her husband? Is she responsible for 50% of his debts and obligations? The I do philosophy allows a fair and equitable solution that would have served and protected both Mr. and Mrs. Went. They should have found this solution before they were married or before they were divorced. That they did not is unfortunate for the Wents, but a blessing for the rest of us. We can learn from their oversight and therefore not repeated. This concludes our discussion on What If Part 2. Our next topic, What If Part 3. I hope you will join me. If you learned anything of value, please consider hitting the like and share button. Leave me a comment, especially if you have a question, a concern, a problem, or an issue we might be able to solve together. Or perhaps you can assist me in improving my presentations to you. Finally, if you feel that I am worthy of your time and effort, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you will know when I upload a new installment of the I Do Philosophy. Until next time, date wisely, date safely, and remember, I do if it's equitable.